going to be talking to Justin Lawman, but before we do so, I came up with another possibility for that motorbike question. Yeah. Solomon could be it as well.
Why? His Triumph?
No, because he was a Davidson.
Oh.
No.
But it wasn't the loudest.
Oh, but man, the Davidsons are louder. They are loud. Yes.
Triumphs are loud motorcycles.
Look,
Triumphs are loud.
Speaking of snow, louder than the motorcycle is the transformation of the lives of people who had, no Christian background, in no Christian place whatsoever, and yet Jesus Christ revealed himself to them. And these stories are in the book Radical Evidence by Derek Morris. This is the book that we're giving away for you today for absolutely free. Just text us to 0491 064 669 with the hashtag Radical. Justin Lawman is with us. Justin, you kind of look like someone that would drive a Harley Davidson. Are you a motorbike man at all?
Yeah, I can't walk right because of motorbikes.
Classic.
I was a motocross and Pony Express guy growing up, but it's all I live for, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Yep.
Dude, I'm right there with you.
Maybe, since you cannot ride motorbikes.
Lawson knows what I'm talking about.
How about piloting B-2 stealth jet bombers? How does that work?
Now, that's above my pay grade, for sure.
Wow.
For sure.
So tell us what happened.
I've seen one, but that's as close as I've got.
It looks like all the media outlets were on fire over the weekend. So if our radio friend were for some reason just enjoying their life with an information overload free weekend, how can we get them up to date with what's happening, Justin?
Look, some really we can get a little dramatic at times, I guess, but this is super serious what's going on. And we don't know where it's going to go from here. But, on our Perfect Storm program last week, it was last Tuesday we recorded, we talked about these underground nuclear sites that the Americans, the reason Trump left Canada early is they're probably going to go in and hit them. And going and hit them, they did. They used 7 B-2 stealth bombers and some submarines. We don't know how many subs, probably 3 submarines or 1 submarine. They've sent Tomahawk missiles from the subs, and they don't know yet how devastating this has been to these underground. How do you say the name of this place? It's like a French word. Fordo this mountain bunker that's, they say, half a mile underground. Whether they get it enough, we don't really know. So we will see in what goes on in the coming days. But this is, if an allied country was attacked, if Australia was attacked, we would expect our ally, the United States, to come and help us. Now, the Iranians have 2 major allies at the moment.
Yeah.
And that is Russia and China. So this has some very wide implications. Already, it's been announced the Iranian parliament has decided to close the Straits of Hormuz, where Saudis, everyone bring their oil through that strait. And if it gets blocked, that means the supply of oil to the global market is really reduced.
Wow.
And that puts a price of fuel, therefore energy for economies. So, folks, fill up your car today. If they close the Straits of Hormuz, if what's being reported is true, and they can very easily do this because it's quite narrow near their Iranian coastline. If they close that, they start to hijack tankers or sink tankers, that's going to put in jeopardy Trump's economic plan where he's got this increase the debt limit. That will put pressure on inflation unbelievably. It will double inflation if the price of oil goes through the roof.
But don't the U.S. has so much, reserves of oil that they can use for situations like this to give them a bit of a buffer for years and years? Isn't that one of the things that they kind of brag about.
Well, so does Australia. Australia has heaps, but do you see us pumping it out of the ground? They have to develop a whole lot of. I think their peak of oil supply in the US has already gone past. There's a lot of wider implications that could go on here. I think the biggest and most concerning thing is, does North Korea, who's another one of their allies, they've stated they will supply them with a nuclear weapon.
Wow.
Do they already have a nuclear weapon? That's the sort of scenario that this is a time to pray for the world. It would be wonderful if Iran opened up to the gospel and freedom could come to this country. That would be so amazing. Because it's been quite restricted under the Islamic Revolution from 1980 till now. Tehran has 19 million people, the population, just the city.
Wow.
So this is an amazing country, and the Persian people they're just fantastic. I've known a number of Persian people over the years, and they're amazing. I would hate for this to keep on escalating, but my take on this morning is this just means it's going to escalate in ways that are unforeseen, and I think it's not a great development.
Absolutely. And look, we're talking about the Middle East. Do you think does the Bible say anything about that particular war with Iran? Does it go into the specifics, or does it refer to it more generally? What do you say to people that think, hey, has this been predicted in the Bible?
No, this has not been predicted in the Bible. There are wars and rumors of wars, and the Persian people were enemies of Israel, and then they were allies. There have been all sorts of things to Israel in biblical times, but no, this has not been predicted specifically.
And how can what are ways that you think that Iran can respond to these attacks? Because they are unprecedented. I think this is the first time that the United States is hitting strategic facilities from officially in Iran, right? Yes.
Yeah. This is what they'd call the unintended consequences. We don't know at the moment. It could be because Trump's take on all this is say, hey, now let's all calm down and have peace because we've done the job. The Iranian people may look at it different to Donald, and I'm sure they will. So already, the price of oil, that puts in jeopardy the world economy because at the most basic level, you need energy to run an economy. And that's the first thing they can do. They are raining missiles on Israel, and they're doing quite a bit of damage. These hypersonic missiles are incredible to watch the footage. It'd be a fearful thing to be fearful. They are coming down at such speeds that 19,000 miles an hour they can travel at. They're not stoppable. And I just hope there's no nuclear weapons already in the possession of this regime. Remember, we're not talking about the Persian people or the Iranian people, but this is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard that's running the war. Israel has done a fair job at taking out their top leaders, but there's millions of people in the military there. This is not going to be it'll be over tomorrow thing, in my opinion.
And as you said, it's quite worrying that I saw that the foreign minister of Russia, not the foreign minister, but Dmitry Medvedev, who's like an unofficial kind of a spokesperson to the Kremlin, and he said that there are several nations that have offered to supply Iran with nuclear bombs. And this is like a very serious statement, I believe.
Well, they've got the delivery mechanism. A hypersonic missile, you can't stop that. If a nuclear warhead is on it, it will hit its target. So this is serious, serious stuff. And to step into where does this go from here? Well, we don't know. We're praying God's will be done. But none of this is his will. This is a result of sin, and it's not over yet. And terror cells. Imagine the terror cells that they have in the US.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. So, because the Iranians had already, the Iranian regime had already threatened that they would use their terror cells to attack oil and energy infrastructure in many parts of the world if something happened to them. Can they do damage through these cells?
Well, they have been the largest sponsor of terrorism financially on the face of the planet for a long, long, long time. And the porous borders of the United States mean they don't even know who's in there and who's not. And I'm sure they've had this plan and they've known that America's been threatening. So we could expect to see in a Western country, United States most obvious, but England and other Western countries as well, we could see a major terrorist event take place because they have been well funded and they are just staying in these countries for this type of event. But that will only make America mad. This is a problem. This is this ladder of escalation. Yeah. That the US bases are right there in Iraq. And if they now lob one of these hypersonic missiles, they could take out a whole base nearly.
Yes. Wow.
If they do that to a US base, what does Trump do the next moment? Yeah. This just escalates
That's
until we find ourselves in a world war.
Yeah.
I
wanted to read a question that's come through from Sarah. It says, "Good morning. I have a question. I heard U.S. Senator Ted Cruz say in an interview, quote, biblically, we are commanded to support Israel. I know he is misquoting, but from what scripture could he be getting this idea from?"
I've got to say, Ted Cruz is married to a Seventh-day Adventist.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, really?
He is. He's not one himself.
Yeah.
And look, biblically, Israel has, as a nation, being the covenant people of God, we're under the new covenant. If you're Christ, you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. The nation of Israel does not have a special status with God today. That ended in they had to confirm the covenant. Study Daniel chapter 9. They do not have any special status. Do we have to support them because the Bible tells us to? That's a myth. That's not based on any scriptural teaching that I could ever find in the Bible.
I think that has to do with that doctrine of the third temple that they believe needs to be rebuilt before Jesus comes back. We actually had a special show about the third temple we've done here with Pastor Danny Milenkov joined me, and we explained a little bit about where that myths or that idea of the prominent role of Israel in the end times can take place. Basically, they get some Old Testament prophecies about Israel that were conditional, but then the interpreters make them unconditional, and therefore they see that Israel will be glorified, all nations will come to it, and therefore we need to support them so that the temple can be rebuilt and Jesus could come back. But again, if you want to know why this is a bad interpretation of scriptures, you have to check out our special program on the third temple. Justin, before we go, I actually wanted to ask you a question here. Hopefully producer Shell can give us a little bit more time. Do you think that there is a world or a risk that we as a country can be dragged into this war with the U.S.?
We don't really have a choice. Because we're an ally to the United States, and that doesn't mean that's only when it suits us. That means that we're an ally. So it would be a pretty, I think, unprecedented thing. There's never been a time where we haven't gone with the U.S., whether it be Vietnam, Iraq, you can call all the different events.
Afghanistan.
We've always stood with them because, and okay, we are culturally aligned and we're Christian nations, but look, we need America. If China wants to send some warships around Australia and dock and do what are we going to do? We won't withstand those. We need big friends. And so would we be a target? I I think that's been proven already that we would. So, yes, this could involve us. And if the world goes to war, if China decides this is their opportunity to invade Taiwan, that's a lot closer for us. We're very involved in the South China Sea and Asian countries around there. Yes, in my opinion, we're going down this road with the United States.
Wow. And Justin, so to finalize, what prayer points can we do as we're praying to God, as we're talking to him about what's going on in the world? What would be in your prayers?
God never wants war, death, and destruction. So it's never his will. And we plead with God that this stuff wouldn't happen, but he doesn't want it already. That in amongst this, God will use this to finish his work to save the world through the gospel. And I hope that we can live in a time of peace. We should pray for that. It says in Romans 12, we should live at peace with all men. But unfortunately, history's shown us that we don't always have that. And we need to pray for the leaders of both sides of this, that one silly mistake can lead to catastrophic things globally. So I think that's a big thing. And that God would give freedom. There's a whole generation coming up in Iran of young people that are really not wanting to follow this Islamic revolution, that we could see freedom for people to make their own choice to worship according to how their conscience convicts them.
Justin, thank you so much. I'll definitely include that on those points to my prayers today after the show as well. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you liked to hear Justin, know that on Friday.
Joseph, I have to say one more thing.
Oh, please go ahead.
My grandchildren, Lizzie and Hamish, listen to this. Giles down in Tasmania. And I always forget to say hello to my grandkids because they beg me to do it.
Shout out.
I want to say to Lizzie and Hamish in Batlow.
Very good. Well, it's great to have you listening to us this morning as well. Justin, thank you so much. If you'd like to catch Justin Friday, 4:30 p.m., his show, The Perfect Storm on Faith FM.